welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys a whole lot for subscribing to my YouTube channel. I thank you all for supporting me, for all of the support I've gotten. Thank you so much. Okay, and okay. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to actually cut and sew this trendy neckline. So you could see the neckline. It is a neckline on a yoke. It is a little bit complicated, but we're going to be doing justice to it today. This is it's like a new design. I just came across it and I decided to share how to make it with you guys. So we're just going to sew along and then see the outcome at the end of the day. So if you have not subscribed to my channel already, I would appreciate if you hit on the subscribe button and then hit on the bell also to get an update whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to register for my online classes for this month, you could see my number scrolling through the screen. You can send me a message. Currently, we have about 6 classes. We have the beginners class, we have a corset class for those of you that want to know how to sew corset perfectly well. We have a ready to wear class for those people that want to go into ready to wear business. I want to be sewing dresses and be selling. And then we have an advanced class, and then we also have an intermediate class, and then a trouser and jumpsuit class. So just send me a message on WhatsApp and then I'll send you the details. Okay, now so let's just get started. So you can see on my table I actually have 2 patterns of the same size. Everything is the same here because you could see this tie is a little bit complicated, like I said earlier. So beginners, you might want to, if you're a fast learner, you can actually grab this. So I have 2 pattern papers already on the table. So I'm going to be making use of this yoke, this tool for my yoke. So you can make use of any net of your choice. So I'm going to be making use of this. That's what I will use. And then I'm going to be drafting a corset. You actually have different ways of cutting corset. I have about 3 or 4 different corset patterns on my channel. I think 4, I suppose. You have the one that is like the manual one, let me say, like the freehand, that you just take and place your cup and then you just cut out. That's just like the easiest. You have that one. I have it on my channel. And then you have the one that you are going to draft. I have it also. And then you have the one that is like an illusion corset, that you just take your net your cups and then place it on your net for the top part of the bodice, and then after attaching it, you go ahead and use appliques to cover it. So you have different ways of actually achieving trendy corsets that are in vogue right now. So today we're going to be using the pattern method. I'm not going to be using the freehand. So I have a very detailed video of it on my channel. So I'll drop all of the links on the description box for you to follow. Since I'm using a basic bustier pattern, we're going to cut out the yoke first, and then before we cut out the corset. Oh, I also have a video on my channel of how to add a yoke. In case you don't know how to add a yoke to a dress, maybe you actually did not cut it out from the pattern, I have a video of that also. I'll still drop the link on the description box. I'm just trying to explain all of this, even though it's taking time, so you understand how to actually achieve this neckline. So that is why I'm talking so much. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to do, if you see from the picture above, you notice that the yoke actually extended to even over the under bust. So this is my bust line, and then this is my under bust, and then this is my waist line, which is, I'm going to still call my half cut. And then I'm going to add another line here, which is my chest line, which is usually 8 inches. It's like standard. So this is like my chest line, which is 8 inches. So most times when you're cutting out yoke, you just cut out your yoke straight from 8 inches. So once you use it like this top part on your dress, any of your patterns, it works perfectly fine. So this is our chest line. So for this, but you notice that yoke extended to even below the under bust part. So you can, this depends on how modest you actually want. You can decide not for yours not to be that long, but you just follow the whole pattern and then you will still achieve it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do now, we'll draft out the yoke on this pattern. So what I'm going to do, so this is our under bust, this is our bust line. So on the bust line, I'll come like this. I'll mark 2.5 inches on this point like this. So this is my chest line. So I want you to note this. So the yoke is going to be coming from the chest line like a sweetheart neckline like this. So I've marked this just to indicate, to show me how much the center is going to be. So I'm going to come to the down part. So this is the under bust line. So I'll come down 1 inch because you see the yoke extended a little bit downward. So on the under bust line, I'm going to mark 1 inch. So this whole point like this, I'm just going to like do like a back flip to this point, and then from this point I'll just mark it down like this, so you could see how the shape is. And then on this point like this, I'll just use dotted lines like this, and then it will extend into the chest line that through the armhole. So I hope you understand. It's just a simple process. So you just come like this and then come like this, just like a sweetheart, and then you bend it downward. So I'm going to mark it out properly now so you see it. So you can see the shape of our yoke. So we're going to cut out the yoke on this piece. So this is what we're going to transfer into our neck. So I'm going to place that one on the side, and then we're going to cut our corset on the second pattern. So this is another very simple way and simple method of actually cutting a corset. So because I've removed the yoke from that, I'm just going to cut out the yoke on this part. So you know the exact, if you notice the inches that we're really using for the yoke, that's the length, is actually 8 inches, which is the chest line. So this part is just plunging. This is just like a plunging neckline. It's just plunging deep. So we're not going to use that. So we're going to use our normal yoke line. We're going to cut it out from this part now. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to do. So this is like 8 inches for the yoke. So I'm just going to take it out from this pattern. So I will cut this out now. So we have our pattern left now to cut out our corset. I'm just going to sit, and then so to draft out our corset now, here is what we are going to do. It is a very simple process. It's very simple. So I'm just going to come to this part like this. So it depends on how wide you want this part to be. So if you notice from that picture, so I'm going to use half inches. This is just like standard. So I'll use half inches on this point like this. And then from this point, I'm just going to mark that half inches. I'll mark it down, let it come into the under bust part. So you can see what we have here. And then I'll just use my pattern curve to just give it a nice curve out like this. So just let it blend into the under bust part. And then on this part, I'm just going to take what I have here, which is obviously bigger. So I'm going to, because this towards our armhole part, our boobs is usually fuller. So I'm going to use 3.5 inches for this part. So I'm going to mark 3.5 inches on this other side like this. And then from this 3.5 inches, because what I have here is 3 inches. So from this part like this, I'm just going to curve it. Let it come into the armhole. So you see my corset cup is already out. Like I told you, I said it is a very simple process. So you see I've marked it out already. So what I'm going to do now, so for my corset, I'm going to do an over bust tightening on this part. So I'll cut it out first. So for me to tighten my cups more, I'm just going to highlight this point here like this. So I'm going to cut it out like this now. So this is what I'm going to use now to cut out my cups. So when I'm transferring to my fabric, I'm going to add 1 inches allowance around it. You can add as much as 1.5 inches. So this now I'm going to, so you see my corset now. So you see my corset is here, is ready. So the next thing now, we're going to work on the yoke again. So the first thing I'm going to do, this is my dart line. So I'm going to cover up the dart lines. Okay, so you see I've covered up my dart line. So the next thing, I'm going to cut the center design on this. So in cutting this, so I'm just going to use my discretion to cut it. So I'll come to this part like this. So this is my shoulder, this is my actual shoulder line. So after covering my dart, this is my shoulder line. So this is like the extra allowance that I just added. So I'm going to come from this part of my shoulder. I'm going to mark about 2 inches. I'll just come in by 2 inches like this. So these 2 inches, I'm going to make a straight triangle down to this point like this. I'm going to make it to this point, to this point. So you see how I'm placing my ruler. It's just going to end here like this. So this part, what I have here now, is going to be my two. This part, if you notice from the picture, this part that we have was actually done with a fabric. If you notice, the yoke is in two forms. It's this center part that was done with a tool. So this is the center part that I'm going to cut out with my tool. This part I'm going to cut out with another fabric. I'm not going to use the net to cut this part. So I just want you to understand it. So the next thing now, we're going to cut out that piece that is at the center of the tool. We're going to cut that out. So in cutting that out, I'm just going to come like this. So the first thing now, come here, I'll mark out my neckline. So you just use your regular neckline measurement. So it is a high neckline. So I'm just going to, okay, so the next thing now, for us to cut out that other center piece, we are going to determine how wide we want it to be. So for this, I'm just going to come, so I have about 2 inches. So I'm going to leave about, I'm going to use about 1.5 inches. So I'll leave about half of an inch between that part and the neckline. So this is 1.5 inches here now. So on this part, I'm just going to cut, measure, take this part like this. So if you notice, it is actually really not straight. So what I'm going to do, I'll just use my pattern curve. Okay, let's try dotted lines first because it's really not straight. So we're going to come from this down point like this. So like I used to always tell you people to use, there's some sewing that you just going to use your artistic skills to achieve. So I'm trying to curve it. If you notice, like I said, it's really not, it's not straight, it's not a straight piece. So once it gets to this part like this part is just going to extend into the plunging neckline pants like this. So I'm going to cut it out and then I will show you. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cut out this part. So I want you to know this is the center part that I'm going to cut out with a net. So I'm not going to cut out this piece first. I'm going to cut it out first. Then before I now cut out this piece that we're going to attach on top of the net. So I just want you to get it. So now let's just continue. I'm going to cut. Okay, so you could see all of my piece now. So I've cut them all out. So I've cut out the yoke. So you could see how it is even looking perfectly here. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go and couple my corset together. I already have a video of how to do this, so I'm not going to show it in this video. The essence is the real reason for the video is the yoke. So I'm going to couple that, and then this part. So I've cut out the yoke for the center. So this is the piece that is on the middle piece. So I'm going to cut this one out now. So I'm going to cut this piece out. So this I'm going to keep. So this one is what we are going to attach on this part. So it was actually sewn and attached. So it was actually sewn and attached. So I'll cut out another piece. The other piece is going to come like this into this point. So let me go and join everything together first, and then we'll come back. I'll come back and show you how to cut this piece and then attach it on the yoke. Okay, so I finished stitching my corset. So I've covered it. So I have videos of how to do this. So I finished stitching. So the next thing, we're going to work on the yoke. So I'm just going to keep this on the side. So this is the yoke. This is the one that we cut from the side of the yoke. So I'm just going to open it up like this. So the first thing, so this is the one that was on the center. This is the one that we cut out from the center of the, I've cut out the piece. This is the one that we're going to stitch on this part like this. So I just made it a little bit excess because we're going to sew it like this and then turn it to this side. So that's why I made it like that. It's going to be a top stitch. So if you see from the original picture, everything that was done on that dress was actually top stitch. So applique were now used to cover up all of the stitches. So you could see the picture even on the yoke part also, because the yoke, this is how we're going to fix it on the corset. We're going to stitch it like this. You're just going to do a top stitch on it, so you could see closely from this picture up there. That was how the original designer of this dress designed it. So they stitched it like this on it. It was just like a top stitch was done, and then at the end of the day, appliques were now used to cover up the whole of all of the stitches, so you could see. So that's how we're going to do it also. So for this part now, what I'm going to do first, I'm going to take this back to my machine now. I'm going to stitch it like this. So you notice I've not added the neckline, so I'm just going to take this like this. I'll stitch it to the down part, and then this one also for the other piece, I'll stitch it. So I'll do that and then bring it back and show you. So this is my center piece, so I'm just going to place it like this back, and then I would cut out the neckline. So the next thing now, we're going to attach this piece on it. Okay, so I finished stitching, I finished up stitching it down, so I finished joining this part to it. So the next thing I'm going to do now, so this other piece, so I cut out two pieces and then sew and turn, so you could see it's turned on both sides. So you see the second one also is turned on both sides. So now I'm going to show you how to attach it. So you could actually do this. So I want to attach it before attaching the yoke on my corset. So this kind of yoke, you can make it on any bustier. It's not necessarily that it must be a corset. You can always adapt. So this is the cuffed part. So you know the cuff part is in the center. So we're going to start from this part where the neckline started from. So I'm just going to place it like this. Like I told you, I said the original piece, it was actually top stitched on it. So all of those stones were now used to cover it up. So you could see that it is looking like the yoke on the picture already. So I'm going to take it like this, on the center piece part like this, and then I'll take it to my machine and then give it a clean top stitch. So I'll stitch it down like this and then secure this one also. So the same thing with this one. So you use the edge of the neckline as guide, and then I'll do this also and then do this. I'll bring it back and show you, and then we'll join it to this one. Okay, so you could see our yoke. So I am excited at the results that we produced. So you could see it is looking like what we have there. So the next thing, I'm going to show you how to attach this yoke. So I've done a lot of videos before on how to attach yoke, but since this is a different kind of yoke, so that's why I'm just going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to come to this center part. Remember from the under bust line, when I was drafting initially, I actually used 1 inch. So now I'm not going to mark 1 inch, I'm going to mark half inch. Why I'm marking half inch? Because if I mark 1 inch, it's going to be too big. So I'm just going to mark half inch up from this under bust line, and then I'm just going to cut it out like that. Or you can do it in two ways. You can decide, so you can see the back of this yoke. So you see the back is looking so neat and fine. So, or you can decide to just fold it like this, and then you place this, let it be on the under bust line like this, and then this part. So like I told you, I'm going to top stitch this, and then you just cut out this part like a small V for this part of the yoke to go into. I just cut it out like this, and then I will open this up, and then this is going to go into this part like this. So you could see it now. You see it's looking like what we have. So I'm going to sew this yoke like this, and then this one is going to come like this. I'm going to sew this, and then this part, I will top stitch this. So I'm going to go ahead and go and do it and then bring it back and show you now. Okay, so at the end of the day, so you could see how our dress is looking. So it came out, so the yoke actually came out beautifully well. So you see, like I told you, you just top stitch it on this part. So because of the kind of fabric that I used, so you could see it's actually not, the stitches are even not obvious. Or if you are making use of a lace fabric or satin or duchess, at the end of the day you are just going to cover up with applique. So like you could see, like the picture I showed you earlier, that was what was actually done. So at the end of the day, so you see how beautiful it is looking, and then everything is looking so beautiful. So thank you so much. If you find this video helpful, I will appreciate if you hit on the like button to make me know you appreciate what I did. And then if you have any question, you can drop it down on the comment section. So thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. God bless you and have a blessed week ahead.